This is the Men's College Soccer Review, presented by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, the largest soccer coaches organization in the world. The NSCAA is dedicated to providing the best in soccer coaching education and membership services and benefits. Visit www.nscaa.com for more information. From Harder Stadium in Santa Barbara, California, a great matchup on a Friday night between the 17th-ranked Gauchos of UCSB and their arch rivals from Cal Poly, the Mustangs. Good evening, everyone. Kenn Tomasch along with Keith Tabatznik. Now, the Cal Poly Mustangs have not qualified for the Big West Conference Tournament Championship, so their season is going to be over tonight. But when it's this rivalry, there's always something to play for. We expect a great match tonight.
No, I think you're right, Ken, because this is one of the biggest rivalries in college soccer. Every time they play, the crowds come out. Over 11,000 earlier this year at Cal Poly when they upset Santa Barbara in that game. Last year, over 8,000 at Cal Poly when Cal Poly won on Fox Soccer. So it will be big. They're playing for pride. They're playing for their seniors. All right, but Santa Barbara, they're playing for the Big West tournament to be in the seeding of the tournament and, of course, the NCAA tournament.
Well, speaking of the NCAA tournament, obviously this is the time of year when you want to be playing your best soccer, and the RPI ratings reflect that. So what did we learn from the third RPIs that came out this week, Keith?
Well, I think the thing is, in the first two, they really shifted a lot, and now they're getting down a lot closer to what they're going to be at the end. And I think the biggest thing that the RPI shows right now is that there's some teams that have some big games they have to win in their conference tournaments if they want to go on, because the RPI is used very heavily by the selection committee.
Well, the regular season wraps up in college soccer this weekend. So as we look back at 2011, Keith, what were some of the stories that stuck out in your mind for the college soccer season?
Well, to me, I think the first thing I think about is New Mexico, because who would have said at the beginning of the year that there would be only one team unbeaten or undefeated at this time of year, and it would be New Mexico. Jeremy Fishbein's team, no losses, 2 ties on the year, finished out this weekend against UNLV. If they do that, undefeated for the regular season. That would be one. Attendances, we talked about that last year. It stayed again. Several attendances over the 10,000 mark. Lots of programs setting their records as well. It's been perfect in that sense as well, and I just think that's one thing. And also, by the way, no clear front runners. And I think that's one of the big things. This NCAA tournament is wide open.
And back east, the tale of triumph in the face of tragedy at Appalachian State.
Yeah, on September 7th, Sean Pendleton, the head coach for Appalachian State, tragically passed away that day. Matt Nelson became the interim head coach, and he has led that team to a 9-4-4 record and entrance into the Southern Conference tournament as well. And I think it's just an amazing story, because what a difficult thing to overcome. And those players and the coaching staff deserve so much credit. So they've been really good.
Well, those have been the stories of 2011. We look for many more things in 2012 as well. We're going to be, some of the other stories, though there may be some change on the horizon coming in college soccer.
Yeah, well, I think in 2012 and beyond, the NCAA is trying to put in some rules that I don't think will be good for men's and women's soccer, cutting down the off-season competition, cutting down a couple games in season, no foreign tours. Right? And, of course, it's the Big East and the ACC at it again, taking teams from each other, and that's going to cause a domino effect. But, Ken, no matter what teams are playing and what conferences next year, the NSCAA and Fox Soccer is going to be with you for another great package with the best teams in the country and the best student athletes in the country as well.
And speaking of student athletes, we want to look beyond the lines of the field and recognize that which is the top priority for our student athletes, academic excellence. Here are the top 10 programs in academic achievement this year. And for a program to be considered for the NSCAA Team Academic Award, it's got to have a minimum GPA of 3.0 for the entire roster. The Harvard Crimson on top. I hear that's a pretty good school, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard that about them.
So those are your top 10 NSCAA Team Academic Award recipients. Now let's take a look at our Continental Tire Top-25. The NSCAA Continental Tire College Rankings. You talked about New Mexico. They're undefeated, and they take over the top spot as Maryland held it only for a week.
Yeah, and Maryland, a little chink in their armor as they lost to Clemson. They tied Wake Forest this week. Look at Akron at number 6, and they were upset by Michigan State. UConn, a shocking 1-0 loss to Seton Hall last weekend as well. And then Boston College staying in the top 10 despite a loss to UNC. And then you see in the next, it's JMU. They were also upset by Drexel 2-0. Old Dominion, also another upset in the Colonial Conference, and they were upset by Northeastern. Notre Dame, we talked about, upset by Villanova in the first round of the Big East tournament. They're at a 32 RPI on the bubble, and Washington at 48 in the RPI. They have a lot of work to do still to get in the NCAA tournament. And in the final page, look at Central Florida. They've been at the top a lot of this year, but they lost to South Carolina, and their RPI is not that high. They're going to have to do some work. And Providence, big road win against Georgetown, but then they lost in the first round of the Big East tournament to Louisville 5-0.
That's our NSCAA Continental Tire Top 25. Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Find out more at ContinentalTire.com. Now our players of the week.
Yeah, and for the men's player of the week is Brynjar Benediktsson from Iceland in Clemson, the freshman for the Clemson Tigers. 1 goal and 1 assist in the upset win over Maryland. He's the leading scorer for Clemson with 7 goals and 4 assists this year. Congratulations to Brynjar Benediktsson. And then on the women's side, it's Gibby Wagner, the sophomore at Boston College from Wall, New Jersey. Game-winning goal versus number 7 Wake Forest, which put the Eagles over Wake in the ACC. Congratulations, Gibby Wagner, player of the week for the NSCAA.
And in front of more than 13,000 folks here at Harder Stadium at UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos got 2 second-half goals and beat their arch rivals, the Cal Poly Mustangs, 2-0 in the final game of the regular season for both teams, Keith.
Yes, they did, and they deserved the win from the beginning to the end. They were the better team. Cal Poly just having a little bit in the first half, though. This is Luis Silva, one of the best players in the whole country, saved by Patrick McLean. And just have a look at this again. Luis Silva not even looking at the goal, taking the shot. Let's look at that again, by the way, because you can see he doesn't even look. Hits off the post, stays 0-0 going into the second half. That didn't last long. 2 minutes in, Ken. Sam Garza blows by the Cal Poly defense, putting that ball in for his 7th goal. What a shot for them, and the crowd is going crazy. 1-0 for them, and look at the dance. I don't know if they're going crazy about the dance, but they were. Exactly. It was a call one tonight. This warmed them up a little more. Dom Saul splitting the defense with the ball. That's Luis Silva with his 15th goal of the year. Luis Silva, maybe the best player in college soccer, leads Santa Barbara to victory tonight.
They finished 13-5-1 and will host a semifinal of the Big West Conference Tournament next week. But they beat Cal Poly tonight. They've beaten them here every year since 1998, 2-0. The final tonight on the NSCAA Game of the Week. This has been the Men's College Soccer Review, presented by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America.